lot has changed. And you have to imagine.
Hey, my name's Hilton, and today I'm going to show you guys how to install an Android system to the Audi A6. Now, there are quite a few of these available on the market, and there are also quite a lot of videos on installing these on YouTube. But I could not find a single video that shows you every single detail on how to install this system. Now, in my first video that I did on this car, I told you guys that I was going to replace the screen with an Android system. I think I was looking at the 8-inch screen at the time, and it looked like the OEM system, but I subsequently found a better screen, a bigger screen, that could be fitted to the car. And these systems that you buy on AliExpress do not come with any directions, so it's very difficult to install without direction. And I'm going to show you guys by trial and error how I do this. Let's have a look at what's in the box. We have a warranty card, which is useless because I got this on AliExpress. And this here is the screen, the cables. Now, I tried to film this about 3 months ago, and that's the GPS, and I couldn't complete the filming because they never sent me this. And this is the fiber optic connector and module that connects to the system. And it says here 2G all host. So for Audi A6 and Audi Q7. So it's the aux interface, and I'm hoping that this is actually going to work, because if it doesn't work, the screen's just going to be black. And they never sent this to me originally because they thought I had a 2G low system, which I told them I had a 2G high system in my car. And then this plugs into the screen, and all the connectors that fit around the screen for the glove box and the MMI system. This is the bracket that goes in the system, and this is for a right-hand drive. I hope it's for a right-hand drive. And then this is the bracket that fits onto that metal bracket for the screen. And then the screen just clips onto this, and you've got to run your cables through these holes. So the first thing I'm going to do is undo the glove box. There are 3 screws up here that need to be undone, and then 2 screws right underneath there that need to be undone. These screws are 8mm screws, and just got to feel where they are. And I recommend undoing the ones at the top first, and then do the ones at the bottom. You've got to support it with your elbow when you undo the last one, because it's just going to drop. Now, the reason we take the glove box off is not just to get access to these plugs here, but also to get access to this plug here over there. And I'll show you guys what they look like. We have to take this whole thing off the car, and in order to do that we have to remove this air vent piece over here. So I've got this cover off here on this side as well, just to make sure there are no screws holding the air vent in place. To get the air vent off, there are 2 clips. One's down here need to just try and see if I can lift vent. There's another one over here, and this should come out now. Okay, we got that one out. And then there's a little one over here at the bottom. You can just do that and then pull that out, and yeah, quite a thing. This goes way deep in there, and then we just need to pop the headlight switch out from behind and unplug that, and then that screw over there, that bolt needs to be undone to get this off. There's another bolt over there, and then there will be more bolts behind here. These are the clips at the bottom, this one and that one, that you need to get in there. And what you got to do is you get your trim tool in there and you push them up so that you can release the air vent. I just want to feel, are there any holes here? Aha, there is. There's a hole here. Aha, there we go. Okay. So we can just pull this whole thing out now. Okay. And then I just want to undo the plugs. So instead of unplugging all this stuff, I'm just going to let it dangle there, because there's another plug way deep inside there that I need to undo, and I'm just not going to bother with that. The main reason we're taking this out is to get to, and I see there's a screw missing there. I was expecting that. And there's a bolt over there that we need to undo, and there would have been a bolt there that we need to undo. So we just need to get this cover off down here. Just got to move it forward if you can, and then we can get this off. Just lift this a little bit, and then it should come loose. Right. I'm most likely going to have to turn the key so that I can unplug this thing, because I do need access to getting the cables in and up here once I get this off, and I need to plug my main loom from my Android unit into the HVAC, and then the HVAC's car loom into that. There's one more thing I forgot. So the 4 screws here at the bottom, and then there are 2 screws at the top here, so we need to remove these buttons in order to get there. And there we go. Try not to break the clips. And it helps to go in from the inside and not the outside. So try on this side first and that side, and then you should be able to get that off. Getting these out is no easy task, I'll tell you that. I have really struggled. My pulling tools broke, and these things, they broke. So yeah, you need something really strong to get these out, and they do not come out very easily. So yeah, I'm just gonna unplug this, put that there, and then plug this one. And put it there. Now we have access to the bolts, and there are 2 in here that we need to undo and try not to drop them into the dash, because at this point you will have struggled quite a bit. Now unfortunately my tool is not magnetic, so it is going to be a bit tricky to get these, but I've got it. I've got that one, and let's just see if I can get this one. Yeah, okay, I've got that one as well. So all in all 6 screws to undo this, and after struggling with these buttons, if you can get them off, you should be able to remove the cluster. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull from the top to get the top out. Right. So if you now need to just release this one, and so this one's going to go in there from what I can see. And then this one will plug into here, into the MMI. Okay, I heard a very, very faint click. To be honest, I don't know which plug plugs in where. So I'm just going to plug it in, because it's likely, if I do this incorrectly, that I'm not going to have any video. Okay, so only this plug fits into this box. And not very satisfyingly, I might add, plug this into here. So the main loom that comes from the car plugs into there. That one plugs into there, and this is your fiber optic box, and that loops into your CD changer. Why, I don't know, but that's just the way it works. And then the CD just stays in there, so you don't do anything with your CD changer plug, just leave it plugged in. Now we have the other side of this cable that we plugged in up there. We have the other side of that cable, and the other side of that cable has all this cacophony of crap on it, and I've got to figure out what plugs into this, because this I would think goes to the screen. Yeah, so this one is going to go up inside here, and I'm just going to route it up there and see if we can get it up behind. So there's that loom. This is going to plug into the screen, your new screen, and then your old screen's plug is going to plug into this cable over here, and this cable has 2 USBs on it. You got a USB 2.0 and a USB 2.0. So my guess is for the Apple CarPlay and all that, and this will also plug into the screen this side here, and then the car's screen cable will plug into this part over here. Before you undo your screen, just unplug everything from the screen to check that everything works before you start going down this road. But when you do undo your screen, these little bolts are 5.5 millimeters. So you got to undo 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can get your screen off. So this is the screen plug here, and it just plugs in underneath this flap, and that flap actually keeps this plug in place, but it does have a little tab right there at the top that you need to press down, and then you can get the plug off. Right, so here's the new screen, and I'm just going to hook everything up. So what I need to do first is plug the original cable from the car into this box, and it only goes in one way, so you can't really screw it up, and it does have guides. Make sure it's really on there good. And then this part plugs into the back of the new screen. So we click that in there, and then this plug here that I ran through from the glove compartment, which comes from the MMI unit, will plug into the back of the screen as well, so that you can get all your MMI information. And I'm just going to put the screen over here. No signal, and if I press the on button on the MMI, it briefly comes up and then it disappears, and that tells me that they gave me, and it's going to say no signal now. That tells me that there's something wrong with the fiber optic box that they gave me, and for that reason the MMI just won't work. So there it says no signal, and it's this little box down here which I've installed. Right, so I've got everything plugged in, and if we go to the MMI system, everything seems to be working, and I've got audio, which is great. So, and if I press there, I should have normal Android, and if we go to dashboard, it's showing everything there, which is great. And red, wow, you got different options. Okay, so if I press the return button on the MMI, it just takes you out of that. Right, so it is working, and what I'm going to do is continue the installation and get it onto the car. And this is what the screws look like. They look like that. So I've undone 4 screws, and the screen should come off, and there's the OEM screen. So looking at the back, that is what you're looking at, and this is where your main plug plugs into, that you've plugged into this metal thing over here. So yeah, well, we can now, I've just clipped this thing back in to its place, and don't toss the screen away, keep it, because this Android system may fail and you may need to reinstall your OEM system. So just keep that in mind. Right, so I've got all my cables in here, and these are the 2 main cables we need. And then don't forget your OEM cables for all your switches that were here are now going to plug into the back of this thing. So you've got your 2 plugs at the back here where they will go, and we can test that by plugging these in and then checking whether we can open the glove box or not. But the other thing is, we now have to screw this bracket that they supply you, which will screw on to the inside of the dash when you screw your dash bezel back in place. Right, so to screw this thing on, they supply you these tiny little screws which are useless. They strip, they do not go into the holes, and what I'm doing is I have self-tapped holes, bigger holes, using these screws, and if you can get a good self-tapping screw, you can make this work. But I think if you're going to try and use their screws, it's not going to work. This is cheap Chinese quality, not good. I think what I'm going to do is just line up the back one first and then screw it in. Just get the screws in there and lined up. And then I at least have it on. You just got to make sure that the holes on your bracket are lined up with the holes of your bezel when you're busy tightening this thing up, because if they're not, you're going to have trouble when it comes to fitting your bezel back onto your car. Right, so there we go, we got a good fitment, and now we're going to pull the cables through. And what I just want to do is just plug in the OEM plugs first, which is going to be a bit of a challenge because the OEM wires they're not very forgiving. And I think what I'm going to do is see if I can pull this wire through the middle part over here instead of putting more tension on it. Now I just need to get the main harness through the back of this, and now that it's plugged in, it's pretty difficult to do. So we're gonna route these cables through here, and so we can plug our screen in. And I just want to see where they're sitting. So the screen would be around about there. So I just need this cable to come through here, and I need the other smaller cable to come through here. There we go. So we got our two cables. And then I see I have a mic cable here, so I better route my mic cable through. The other thing I need to do before I put this back is I need to decide where I'm going to put my GPS. Now before I stick this thing down, I'm first going to stick my sat-nav antenna down, because I'm going to put that underneath behind here, and this is your sat-nav antenna, and this is going to screw into the back of the screen. And you can see you've got two slots at the back of the screen. One is for your GPS and one is for the 4G. So this is the 4G and this is the GPS. So I'm going to look for a spot, if I can find one. I hope I can. So I'm almost ready to put the screen back, and I'm just going to screw the bezel back onto the car here in the center console, just so that everything is where I need it. Now that I have all of this, I've just done these two bolts, that one there and that one there, just to make sure everything lines up, that all my cables are out the way behind here, and that I've got the essential cables I need to hook up the screen. I'm going to hook up the screen now, put it on, and then just see what we got. Right, so at the back of the screen you'll see you've got these two little flaps. You've got to open them up, and there are holes in there, and they supplied you hardware that you've got to screw down and into these clips over there on your bracket, and that will keep the screen affixed to this thing over here. Just one little detail: before you hook your screen up, make sure you put your original buttons back. Do not plug them in, because they're already plugged into your screen. Into your screen adapter. This button is releasing. If I turn the headlights on, well, if I turn the key on, these lights all light up, so that's a good sign. So now we are ready to get our screen onto the car, on the bezel. There we go, and the screen is now in place, and we have our buttons down here, and all I've got to do now is go behind here and tighten the screw, and I already have a screw in there, so I just have to tighten that one, but that one's going to be very difficult to do. I'm going to have to just try and see what I can do there. But what I like about this is once you've tightened the screw, you just click this thing back in place, and you can't see where the screws are, which is a nice touch. Right, so I've had to start my car because my car's battery's starting to die and it keeps warning me, but it's working, and the MMI is working as well, so I can scroll through everything. And if I go to nav, oddly enough it takes me to Google Maps, which is strange. Earlier it took me to the car's sat nav, but if I go to car info, we can go to car, and we've got access to all the MMI features over here. And if I just touch the screen over here, we get the UI for the Android system. So we got phone, navigation. I haven't tested the phone, I will do that another time. But music's the most important thing. It takes a micro SD card here at the back, a TF card, and you can also put a like a 3G card or something in there as well. So I will most likely do that. The screen is extremely fast. It's not like other OEM screens, and we can go into settings and things like that. And yeah, I see the navigation is set to Google Maps. So I'm going to load Cedric on here to have an offline map. I do have a perpetual license for Cedric Maps, and we've got some shortcuts and stuff here, but here we have some other menus. I'll do another video, in-depth video on the system itself. You can change this UI as well, and if I press that little button there, we'll go back to the MMI system, and we can see what's going on over there. So yeah, I'm just glad it's working, and then the next time you guys see me, I'll probably be doing a backup camera to hook up to the system. Now all that's left to do is to pull this satisfying screen protector off, and just like that we have a nice screen in the car. I cannot convey in this video just how big this screen actually is. It's pretty big. Now my mic is lying over there and I got to find a place to put it. So the cable is unfortunately too short to put it up there, so I can't route it up there, which is where I really would like it to be. And I can only take it through the passenger side, so I'm most likely going to have to clip it up there somewhere, or just leave it down there. I don't know. Pop a comment below where you would put the mic, considering the fact that I have a short cable, and I can either put it on the dash, or I can try and put it up there by the sun visor or on the A-pillar. I don't know, but you guys can let me know what you think. So the install is done. Not entirely, because I still do have to do the rear camera, and I'll do a separate video on that because that's going to take quite a bit of time to do. This job took me quite a few hours to do, so if you're going to do it, set at least half a day aside, or maybe even an entire day, because running the cables and then assembling the whole thing, as you could see, is not that easy. It does take some time, and I had to change some of the screws that they supplied by using self-tapping screws to get the bezel that they supply onto the bracket. Also make sure that when you do put the bezel onto their bracket, that the bracket is behind the car's bezel and that their bezel's in front of the car's bezel, because they have to attach to the car's bezel from either side. And don't pre-assemble it and then try and get it on, because it's just not going to work. You can't get their bracket through the OEM bezel once it's on their bezel. So just a tip on that, and also just to make sure that you have enough play on your cables once you get the bezel on, so that you can plug their cables into their screen. One thing I noticed is that even though I activated the aux input on my car, for some reason the sound from their system is not coming through the speakers. Their system is not connected to my CD player, and it's not connected to the fiber optics of the car. So I am a little bit concerned about that, because one of the main features that I wanted with the system was a backup camera and to be able to play my own music. But I'm going to try and contact the supplier and see if they can give me some information on that, and if they can help me with that, and hopefully I can get that to work. But yeah, at least I do have updated maps for now, and I still have my OEM system available as well. So stay tuned for the next video, and adios.